Hi, it's time for my weekly Facebook Live, and today I'm talking a little bit about emotional eating. I guess this was kind of inspired by a uh, post or someone in the group who had mentioned really struggling with binge eating after she broke her fast. And that isn't necessarily the same thing as emotional eating, but they are linked together. Usually, if someone's binging, there is an emotional piece to the binge. But anyway, I think most of us at one point or another have struggled with this or do struggle with eating just because we makes us feel better. I know I sometimes have that. Sometimes, I mean, honestly, today I did an 18-hour fast. I could have gone longer, but I wanted to eat. So since it wasn't a day I had planned for 24, I I decided to eat at 18. But there is an emotional piece to that because I was okay. I wasn't that hungry. I was hungry earlier and the hunger had faded. But there's a couple ideas that I have. If you have something that's helped you, feel free to put it in the chat while we're talking, or if you're listening to the replay. One really big factor with emotional eating is sugar addiction. And that's especially prevalent right now because we just got through the holidays and everybody ate too much. Most people ate things that they don't necessarily normally eat the rest of the time, have a little cheat here, a little cheat there. And by the time you get through the holidays, you've had too many cheats and now you're addicted to sugar again, even though you were doing pretty good before that. So a good thing to do is to work on taking a couple of weeks, take 30 days. That's why the whole 30 thing is so popular often because you can do 30 days without sugar, just maybe a little bit of fruit and some stuff like that. You often can really break that and back to a place of being a lot more in control of your eating. But that's the first thing I look at with emotional eating is that sugar addiction. Uh, if you have sudden hunger, craving for a specific food, you're eating too much and you're feeling guilty, then there's definitely an emotional eating component. True hunger is you can stop when you're full. Any real food will satisfy. So if someone says to you, oh, would you like a hard-boiled egg? Would you like some carrots? Would you like a salad? If you're like, oh, no, you're not really hungry. It's emotional eating. If you can postpone your hunger, then it's probably not. It probably is true hunger. So another thing that we can do besides looking at the sugar, you can do a food journal just to see what your triggers are. That can be very helpful. It's just another way of helping you learn to listen to your body. If you already know, even sometimes a food journal, sometimes it can be surprising when you look and you realize, oh my word, I really ate that much, or I'm having chocolate that often, or I have to have a sweet after every meal. Like sometimes we don't pay attention to those details in the middle of our busy lives. So a food journal can help you pay attention to hunger signals and pay attention to what you're really doing. Eat whole foods, eat clean as much as you can, eat mindfully. And then another big one for me, and not everybody can do this because of families, but keep temptation out of your house. If I know there's potato chips downstairs in the pantry, I start to think about, well, maybe I want to have some of those. And once the bag's open, then, unfortunately I have a family, so they'll eat a lot of them, but it's very hard to resist. If I don't have any in the house, I'm not going to go buy some. And and if I don't, even if there are some for maybe the family, if I don't open the bag until a meal, then at the meal, they will get all eaten because I have 3 kids at home and a husband. So a bag of potato chips will be gone, and then they don't tempt me later because they're gone. So as much as you can keep temptation out of your house, do it. I know that there's many people that they've got family who are not on board with eating healthy or with eating clean, and that is much, much harder. And I don't know what to tell you except sit down with them and explain what's going on and enlist their help for your sake, and then maybe they'll make changes for their own sake. So that's just a few of my ideas. If anybody has anything they want to add, I see Amanda Rose is here. Hi, Amanda, and I know you've lost a ton of weight. I'm sure you have thoughts on this particular topic of emotional eating. Feel free to jump in and make any comments if you do. But it is something that I think most of us deal with at one point or another. Sometimes it's easier and sometimes it's harder. One other thought that is if you are able to identify the emotional eating, it's often really helpful to do something else so that you don't give in, because we only resist very well for so long. So sometimes it's like, if you know that it's really satisfying to read a book, to get on the phone with a friend, some of those kinds of things, and you have the time to do that, do it. And that may help you from going in the kitchen and eating something you don't want to eat. So again, all that though means that we have to get past step one, which is recognizing the emotional eating triggers. So, and I'm still dealing with that too. Like I told you, it's not something that goes away. I think as long as we're here on this earth and we're human, it's going to come and go. But the more we can understand our bodies and the more we are nourishing our bodies with good food, I think there is less of that emotional eating temptations. So that's kind of it for today. I just want to remind anybody who listens that if you are dealing with high blood sugars, you're dealing with abdominal weight that you're having trouble losing. I did a webinar a few weeks ago about insulin resistance. Just want to remind you that I do have a paid subscription group specifically for women who are really dealing with insulin resistance and needing to lower blood sugars, keep away, reverse prediabetes, deal with type 2 diabetes that you want to see your blood sugars go lower. I have a special group specifically designed for women with insulin resistance, and I will post the link to that group in the comments. So thank you for joining me. It's always good to have some people live, and have a great rest of the day, and be aware of what you're putting in your mouth and what you're not.